Welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. If you need a roof, make sure you call Ireland Contracting. They're the best in the business. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. That's their number. They not only do roofs, they do gutters, they do siding, they do windows, anything you need. That's why they are #1 in Pittsburgh. It's 1-800-NEW-ROOF, Ireland Contracting. Give us a call right now on the Borders and Borders hotline, 412-575-2600. And Pitt has a big game this weekend. I don't think it's going to be pretty, especially with the loss of Quentin Wirginis on defense and 5th-ranked Notre Dame. That's a really good team, and this will be you kind of see where this Pitt program is. They had a pretty good game last week against Syracuse, but that was Syracuse. I'm anxious to see what they do at Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's going to be tough at Notre Dame on the road. Notre Dame's 5 in the country now. A lot of people think they're legitimate playoffs. Well, big loss for Wirginis, for Pitt, because of Wirginis getting hurt. It's so sad. Kid's had a great senior season. I think he's been by far their best defensive player. And to see his season end like that, I guess it was even a non-contact drill in practice on Tuesday. Sad for the kid. Bad break for Pitt. It's going to be awful tough at Notre Dame. You come home, you'd be 3-4. They have a bye week, and then they head into their final 5 games. So I think it would be a pretty significant I think they're like 21.5 point underdogs going into that game.
Elias Reynolds and Chase Pine will take over for Quentin Wirginis against Notre Dame. Do you think, obviously Notre Dame is a national program, Ron. Do you think it's good for college football when Notre Dame is good? Because people either love them or hate them.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it hurts by any stretch. Notre Dame isn't what it used to be. When I was growing up a long time ago, there was no college football broadcast really on Saturday. That you live for the Notre Dame highlights on Sunday morning. Lindsey Nelson would do a highlight package, and that was in a day when every kid wanted to go to Notre Dame. I don't sense that at all now. I think the programs have been pretty mediocre for a number of years. They've had a good team, good year here, good year there, good year here, but mostly mediocre. And for them to come back like this, we'll see if they can finish it out. But I don't think it hurts college football when Notre Dame is good by any stretch.
All right, let's get out to Ken out in Clearfield. How you doing, Ken?
Yeah, hi guys. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for calling, Ken.
Hey, I'm a big Notre Dame fan. Not taking anything away from Pitt or Penn State or anybody. And I live here in Clearfield, PA. Anyhow, do you guys really think, since Pitt has that linebacker injury, Notre Dame does have a couple guys banged up on the offensive line, but do you think will there be any chance that Pitt could keep that a game? I don't know. They always do, it seems like, no matter what the records are.
Well, I don't think they always do at Notre Dame. They've beaten some good teams over the last few years. I just don't think that this is going to be a game, especially with that loss of Quentin Wirginis. I would, if I was a betting guy, I would bet that they don't cover that spread.
We'll see. The Narduzzi's had a history of coming up with some good games against real good teams. I think back to Clemson a couple years ago. Obviously, the Penn State game at home, Miami at home last year, but it's going to be a tough challenge for them, no question. They really needed the Syracuse win. That was an important one for them to get. If they'd have lost that game, and they easily could have, obviously went to overtime, I think the season could have totally fallen apart.
The one thing with Pitt right now, if they allow some points, they don't have that quick strike offense. They rely a lot on the run, and I don't think
that running back's good. That Olison is.
Yeah, they're both pretty good, but
really good running.
But is Kenny Pickett good? That's the big question right now.
I don't know how good his receivers are. Hasn't shown me quite as much as I expected. I was one of the guys that, bought into the hype and probably contributed to the hype based on the Miami game last year. I think he struggled a little bit at times. I don't know how good his receivers are now. I see the tight end, another tight end has left the program. But I really love the Olison kid. Man, is he good running back.
Yeah, he looks good.
Really good.
All right, let's go out to Clint out in Altoona. What's up, Clint?
Not much. How you guys doing?
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I want to talk about the playoff and every college you guys are talking about, and I'm going to be rooting hard for Pitt this week. Hopefully they can pull something out. But you were talking about earlier the Notre Dame and everything right now in the top 5, and certainly it looks like to me, at least right now, I don't think anybody's going to beat Alabama, as far as before the playoffs go. But after that, Ohio State, Penn State blew their chance against Ohio State a few weeks ago. Clemson's looked a little shaky here and there. I just hope, I know Notre Dame fans will become pouring out now. If they run the table, they'll be favored now, and that's probably every game the rest of the year. and they get in the playoffs, because frankly, I don't think they would be able to handle anybody that would get in the playoffs.
Well, I tend to agree with what you said about Alabama. It looks to me like everybody's playing for second place here and a chance to play Alabama in the title game. They just look head and shoulders above. Now, we've seen them lose in the past. Anything can happen when you play, and certainly Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, Notre Dame, they're all really good teams. Penn State is a really good team. I think it needs Ohio State to lose twice, though, to be able to play for the Big Ten championship. But it looks to me like Notre Dame is by far, Rich, the best team.
Yeah, you know, they have to fix
Alabama.
This. Yeah, Alabama. But they have to fix this playoff situation soon. I mean, because this year it could potentially be 2 SEC teams, Notre Dame, and one other conference team. So 2 conferences would be represented if Notre Dame gets in. And I don't know what else you could do, Ron. I mean, I think it needs to go to 8, but then the ninth team would get upset.
4 is plenty. I'm okay. I think the true champion is crowned.
Do you really?
4, I do.
So you think do you think UCF should have got a shot at because they're a self-proclaimed national champion? Do you think they should have got a shot to play for it?
I can proclaim I'm a good-looking man, and it doesn't mean it's true. They say they're national champions. Strength of schedule. I don't think they would have beaten Alabama last year or Clemson or whoever, Georgia.
Yeah.
But they can claim what they want to claim. I see the side of the argument. The undefeated team deserves a chance. I was okay with the field last year.
Yeah, I agree with you on that part, but I would like to see it expanded because I think maybe, you still have some teams in that top 8 that could potentially make a run to the national championship game. All right, let's go back out to the phone lines. We got Mike out in Bethel Park. What's up, Mike?
Yeah, hey, guys. How you doing?
Good, thanks for calling.
Good. Hey, regarding the Cincinnati game on Sunday, this has almost regressed into what I would call the football being played on that movie, The Longest Yard, that type of style, and it's really almost like a street fight. But I want to note, too, that hit Kimo Van Olhoffen had on Palmer in 05, and I don't remember it exactly, but true Steeler fan I am, I thought it was a little bit dirty. And I don't know if your thoughts on that, if it was or not, because I don't recollect the play exactly.
I remember it perfectly, and it would be a penalty today. It wasn't then. He crawled like trying to get to the quarterback and hit him very low around the knees. I don't think it was a dirty play. They tell me Kimo was crying in the huddle. Joey Porter had to slap him and say, "Let's go. You got to get into the," because he played in Cincinnati. The fans all turned on him. I don't think it was a dirty play. It wasn't against the rules back then. But the way they're calling the game now, it would have been a penalty.
Yeah, it might have been a penalty. I wonder if he would have got suspended or fined for it or anything. It might have been
different rules, that's for sure. But
yeah,
that was a big part. The Steelers won that game and went on.
And it happened early in that game.
Like the second play, throws a long pass. The kid that was Chris Henry, is that his name? The
kid from West Virginia. I don't know exactly who it was.
He's the one that caught the pass. It was like a 70-yard pass. And I was on the second play of the game.
Yeah, that was that really changed things for the Steelers because if Carson Palmer doesn't get hurt, that could have been a different game.
The Cincinnati fans will tell you that forever.
Yeah, they will. All right. Well, they've never won a playoff game since
not under Marvin Lewis.
16
years. Can you imagine that? 16 years he's never won a playoff game. How would Pittsburgh people? Mike Tomlin's in his 11th year here. How about if he hadn't won a playoff game till this point?
How many years do you think he would have lasted?
With the Rooneys, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah, I would think, and they would give him a lot longer leash than another team.
Well, maybe not as long as Cincinnati has.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
All right, we got to take a break. Back with more of your phone calls, maybe some of your tweets coming up next. Stay right there.